his hair had turned from black into bright white. He said that it was from when the cars had smashed so hard.
We never know what you're going to play.
Yeah.
If you're looking for the traditional pump-up hype music, not today.
I'm really into this type of music, like 90s music right now. I can't stop listening to it.
Crash Test Dummies?
Yeah, dude,
man.
nice job. That's super impressive. Super impressive.
Yeah.
Not as impressive as this guest that we have.
Well, we apologize if you're coming for the traditional music. Or even last episodes, a lot of people said this is either the best intro or a hot pile of garbage.
Yeah.
And both could be true.
And I think
both were true.
I don't think there was a more accurate way to describe it.
Yeah. But this is the Shirts and Skins podcast.
Yep.
I'm Matt Lamb. Brandon Meinert's over there on the controls doing the music. Mark's doing the video switching, doing his best at it.
I'm doing my best. It's got a little lag here, but we're
doing his best.
There we go.
And joining us in studio, KTVB Sports Director Jay Tust.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, man.
I'm excited to be here, guys. Really impressed, by the way, by the setup. I know you guys have came a long ways, I would say.
Come a long ways.
I mean, I didn't know whether to take you seriously or not, but I'm definitely taking you seriously right now.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. That's the first mistake.
That's one thing you should. Hey, our first episode had 11 listeners, no video.
Okay.
It was in Brandon's office.
It was in my office.
No, it was in your house.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
his home office.
I think it was 3 of us listening and then 7 of Mark's family.
Yep.
My mom.
And Matt's
mom.
Probably.
Yeah. And so we've gone a little bit from there.
This is how it grows. Yeah, just one small step at a time. This looks awesome.
No, it's been fun.
So thanks for being here, Jay. We really appreciate it. I know we've been trying to coordinate this. You're a busy man.
This is going on a year probably. Yeah. There was a child that was coming. There was
It's either Jay is so busy or he was just really hesitant to
come.
Probably both.
It's
probably both.
Kids complicate things, so thank God we're deciding to have another one. They'll be here at the end of July. You guys all have kids. Did you wait at all for any of them?
No.
Surprise at all?
No.
Any surprises?
Like for a gender?
Yes.
Oh, is that what you're doing?
Yes.
Ooh, good call. Good call. We didn't do that.
I was all against it, totally against it. We did it actually. So we had a little girl, and 3 years later we had a little boy.
Okay,
but we did not find out for the little boy. So it was like moment of truth. Baby's coming into the world, and you find out. It's insane. I would not have ever thought that I would ever have done that because there's so much chaos, as you guys know, like be prepared, plan, all that stuff. But we waited, and now we got one of each. So we're just like, whatever, let's just
doing it again.
Just wait again.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
that's exciting.
That is exciting. Congrats. What you need to do is ask Ashton to be there at the hospital, like carry your baby for the first time and be like, that's kind of how you came into the world.
Still pushing to name the child Ashton. It works both ways.
It works both ways.
Would you?
Well, my wife already shot down Ken Griffey Jr. Tust, so Ashton's next on the list. I guess.
So if you start there, at least you go to Ashton.
Yeah, exactly.
I was talking to someone just yesterday about that, and she was from out of town. It was a patient at work, but she had no idea. She had not heard of Kellen Moore. And we're talking about birth names because she had young kids, and they were kind of unique names. And I talked to her about that article. I don't know, it was a year or two ago, and someone went back and looked at like the name Kellen.
Yes.
And like in Boise, how it like ballooned. And I said, I'll bet you in 10 years, they're gonna look back and Ashton is gonna be big.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna. Yes, I think something similar will happen. I definitely do.
1 out of every 10.
For good reason.
Like football at a football camp, it's like Ashton Smith, Ashton.
Yep.
All right.
Sure.
Yeah, AJ.
That works.
That's not bad.
Okay.
Well, thanks for joining.
Well, that was it, right?
Yeah.
So we're done for the day.
That was easy. Wow.
Okay,
Thanks, guys.
Is this the off season for you then?
Yeah, I think that. I mean, I give you the whole like there's no off season, but yes, this would be a little bit of the slower time. There's no overlap right now, right? Like football's super intense, and then you kind of start to overlap with winter sports. Then winter sports overlap with spring sports, but now all the winter sports are done, and so it is kind of just spring sports, which in general is a little bit of a lighter schedule, anyways. Because you don't have your basketball or your football, and so I would say it's a little easier right now. And then once we get through state tournament time for high school sports, it really starts to thin out. And you got about a month and a half before media days that you take your time off.
We almost had baseball.
Man.
Almost had baseball for you to cover.
We did have baseball for me to cover, actually. I covered the crap out of it for 14 games.
We actually played games.
Yes.
Yeah, there were
we
games.
played
And then
any
COVID
games.
shut it down.
Yep.
I just remember they hired the coach, they got everybody, and they're like, move your family here.
They had a 0 year, they had a red shirt year, and then they actually started playing ball, and it lasted 14 games before COVID hit, and they decided to kill the program, which was tough. That was tough. And I remember that day I actually covered a game. It was the last day there were any sports, and the Big Sky tournament was going on at the same time. So we had a couple local girls playing in the women's tournament, and I went over there and I covered a game kind of like early evening, and then I hopped over, covered a few innings of the baseball game, and people are coming up to me like, are they really going to like shut down sports? I'm like, no, there's no way.
Zero.
Like the NCAA tournament's coming up. It's $1 billion tournament. There's no way that's going to happen. So I jump back over, cover an evening game at the Big Sky Women's Tournament, and I go back and I'm editing highlights, and that was it. Woke up the next morning and the world was put on pause, or definitely the sports world was put on pause.
Oh, the world, the whole world.
And then we never saw Boise State baseball again. I was heartbroken.
Man.
I loved it. They had a good team. I thought it was going to be really successful. Just needed a field.
And we've heard plenty, so as far as your background a little bit, are you from the state of Washington?
Yep.
Okay.
Born and raised.
What town?
Tacoma, right?
Tacoma, 253.
Okay.
Yep.
Dude, do your research, Mark.
Same house.
So I knew it was Washington, but sorry. Yeah, we're going to get reamed on that comment, that question right there. Someone's going to comment about how I didn't know what town you were from. Oh, yeah. BJ will be ragging on us tomorrow morning, I'm sure.
He rags on everybody.
Yeah, I know. No, we know BJ's shtick now. Anyways, but you played, you're a big baseball guy. You played at Wazoo?
So my whole story was, and it's why I love a good sports story. I was like the little kid, smaller than everybody, absolutely sucked at baseball. Like, I was the worst Little League baseball player.
At what age did you know you sucked at baseball? Is this T-ball? Is this coach pitch?
Yeah, so my best friend, shout out Tyler.
Hey, Tyler.
He was also always the best player. And so we were just like on opposite ends of the spectrum of our meaning to the teams and stuff like that. And then you get into Little League and the coach has got to draft you and stuff. And Tyler's like one off the board. And I think I get to the final round and they're like, okay, well, it's either undrafted or take him. And my dad, who was a coach, and he was awesome at baseball. He drafted me, so I got drafted in T-ball.
Your
and
dad
BD.
finally got you last off the board.
Yeah, I didn't have to take me too early, but and then eventually I kind of started to figure it out, and I give it all credit to. We played so much wiffle ball in the backyard, like an insane amount of wiffle ball, and I loved the game. Collected baseball cards, Ken Griffey Jr. We didn't miss an at bat. And it just made me like the game long enough to figure it out. And my dad came to like everything. And I was 11, 12 years old. And I remember stepping into the batter's box for Soundview Little League. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just swinging this time. Like, I'm just going to see what happens. hit a double to the right center gap. And the rest was history. So I kind of figured it out after that. But baseball, definitely my first love. And got drafted out of high school by the Reds. Played a couple years in college. Back then, they did this thing called a draft and follow, where you couldn't go to a 4-year. They'd send you to a JC.
Yes.
So I did that for a year. Transferred down to a school in Texas. Had an awesome time down there in West Texas. We played so much baseball down there. It was great. And then I transferred to Washington State.
Okay.
Laredo or which?
Out near Lubbock, actually, a little south of Lubbock.
That's kind of a desolate area.
Oh, it is. So we go on
for baseball.
What was the JC? Where did you play?
So I played at Big Bend Community College.
Whoa! What year? What year? We're like the same age.
That would have been 03.
What?
Yes.
I played basketball there.
Big Bend.
No kidding.
For Coach Poth.
Yeah.
Basketball. That's my father-in-law.
Yeah, he married your daughter.
I married his youngest daughter.
I feel like they had a pretty good team.
We were good.
There.
Not with Mark on there.
No.
Not with Mark on there.
So I graduated high school in 2002.
Okay.
When did you graduate?
02.
Dude.
Okay,
So then, hold on.
We're still
So then I
aligning.
played that fall, that year.
Yeah.
2002 to 2003.
Yep.
You were there.
I was there. Donnie Lundgren was my
Whoa.
coach.
What?
Yep.
I remember Donnie. So there was a dude. Oh man, maybe
Are
we
we
should
gonna
go
have to take this offline, or what do we?
So we were.
You guys can text each other
The
during the
year
show.
before, they took second in the NWAC basketball. They won so my year we won the division,
Yep.
right? The East. Didn't take. I think we
Brag.
took 4th.
Stop bragging.
But anyway, that's crazy.
Needed
Yeah.
better point guard
I went
play.
to dude. I got a picture of me
Better
with my
shooter.
shirt off,
How
with,
about bragging
with like
again?
a
That's
letter
embarrassing.
Shirts and Skin
painted.
podcast.
Yeah, with the letter painted at one of your games
Oh,
in the
there
spring.
you go.
That is hilarious.
That spring, no joke.
you didn't
We'll have to dig up that
That's
picture.
incredible.
Or maybe I'm in the background or something
No,
like that.
I didn't.
Do you
That's
have
so
the picture?
funny. Yeah, I'll find the picture.
You didn't
I'll
write
find the picture.
Tusty on your chest?
That's
There was
messed
not
up.
Tusty. It was like bikes or something. That's insane. I didn't know that.
That's wild.
So I did the same thing with basketball. I did not get drafted by anyone though. That was the end of my career.
No, so out of high school, I got drafted, and that kind of changed like the next level for me, or where I wanted to go, because I wanted to play baseball for the Cincinnati Reds. Kind of a long story short, I always played center field, and I was a right-handed hitter. They were one of the teams that drafted me. They wanted me to move me to second. They wanted to move me to second base, which I had like hardly ever played in my life. And they wanted me to switch hit. And this kind of the quick story there is, I was hitting for a Red Scout one day. Just wasn't having a great day in the cage. And he's like, dude, just give yourself a break. Hit left-handed or something. So I start taking left-handed swings. And he's like, have you ever switch hit before? I'm like, no, never. He's like, you look like you could swing left-handed pretty good or whatever.
Really? That easily?
Yeah, I guess. Goes back to my wiffle ball days. Do you,
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
do you know how many hacks I took pretending to be Ken Griffey Jr.
Oh, yeah.
left-handed in the
So many.
backyard?
Yeah.
And so apparently something is kind of carried along with me. So I go to Big Bend, and they say, yeah, go ahead, switch hit. We'll let you play second base. Again, long story short, they literally let me do neither of them because I didn't have a lot of power left-handed yet, because I had never done it in the game. And so after that, I just switched to a place that was a different fit, got me away from home.
Probably better basketball down there too, I bet.
Better basketball down there because Mark wasn't there. And more than anything, so yeah.
It was you were getting away from that. Now that I'm
very
remembering,
Yeah.
the baseball team, they were the partiers when I was a Big Bend.
Okay,
you guys were the partying
yep,
group.
I won't deny that or dismiss that, but I will say this: I honestly didn't do much of that at all.
Sure, yeah.
I really didn't. And that's so. To fast forward here,
That's funny.
yes, it was in the middle of nowhere, Texas, going for my recruiting trip, middle of the night. I'm like, it kind of smells like oil, whatever. Can't see anything. Wake up in the morning, it is flat. Everything's dead. It is yellow. You, there's no like undulation at all. It's just like, you can just see for miles. And I look at my dad. I'm like, Dad, where in the hell did you take me? And so, but it turned out that was one of the better decisions of my life. It was an awesome year. Transferred up to Washington State, went out for a couple practices, but my heart wasn't in it. Like, it just kind of, the love of the game just kind of left me at that time. And I really didn't, I was pretty dedicated. I didn't drink, I didn't party, I didn't do anything when I played ball. And I got to Washington State with a bunch of my friends, and I just wanted to be a kid for a bit.
Be a college kid.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
You know what would make this world a better place? More wiffle ball.
more wiffle ball.
More wiffle ball.
For real?
I grew up, I've got 3 older brothers. We'd use the tennis ball.
Okay.
But out in the front yard,
Well, we'd find anything.
we'd do 2-on-2 baseball.
Yeah. There are times, like, in order to like just challenge ourselves, like they're almost like little soft practice golf balls.
Yeah.
That had a red dot on them, and if you hit them perfect, you'd hear like a click when you hit them or whatever. Then we started playing with those, and like the little miniature, or the miniature souvenir bats you get at Mariner games and stuff, just to mix it up. More wiffle ball or whatever, though. We lived in the backyard playing that thing. My dad still doesn't forgive me because part of we decided to do our own landscaping. And so we dug up.
The kids did.
Buddy Tyler, me. Yep. So we needed a mound. So we just started to dig up part of the yard. And, Dad still doesn't forgive me for that.
Well, they don't have sprinklers. Do they have sprinklers in Tacoma there, or did they just let the? Yeah,
the rain takes care of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Tacoma. Were you a Wazoo fan growing up, or were you more UW and then transitioned when you
Never been a UW fan. I've
Really?
hated them my entire
Oh,
life.
sorry. Just you never know.
No,
Tacoma's a little closer to that.
I'm actually
Again,
kidding. I'm actually
do your
kidding
research,
with you.
Mark.
You're
No.
kidding?
I'm actually kidding with you,
Okay.
man. So, my uncle he wrestled for the University of Washington back when they had a wrestling program, and he was like all Pac-12, alternate on the 1980 Olympic team, and so. Yes, we actually did kind of grow up on that side of the rivalry.
But
I remember
Apple Cup, you're cheering for Washington State.
Apple Cup week in high school. I don't want to tell you who I was rooting for.
Okay,
Oh.
well, that's the answer.
Yeah.
On the record.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to tell you.
Good thing no one listens.
But
to
my
this.
sister, she went on a visit over there. We're only 16 months apart, separated by 1 grade. She went over on a visit over there, and like it was just like this picturesque thing. It's right before Christmas. They get into town. They run into the school president immediately, and he's carrying a Christmas tree into his house. And he invites my mom and my sister in. Yeah, and they go on this tour, and we were done after that.
Huh. My wife's grandpa teaches there or taught there, still lives there. So math.
Pullman's an awesome place. I loved my time in Pullman. Yeah. It was just, you're out there with 25,000 people that are all pretty similar, and you all just have to get along because you'll pretty much, yeah. But we did.
How much of the interaction was with University of Idaho and Wazoo? Was there a lot of cross-pollination there?
Honestly, not a lot while I was there. Like, we'd go over there to get kegs or something because they were cheaper, and of course, it's totally legal to bring them back across state lines.
Yeah,
totally.
You know?
Of course it is.
But that's pretty. We didn't go over there too much.
Really? Did they go over there? I mean, was it?
I felt like they would come over for some of our parties. Yeah. The only reason why we'd go over there is maybe like on Mom's or Dad's weekend. They had the better restaurants.
Gotcha.
Pullman has since grown, but we didn't have like very many restaurants back then. So yeah, we might jump over there to go out to dinner or something.
It is a pretty part of the state of the region for sure.
So, dude, I never thought that I would ever admit that. But
its own route.
It is.
Rolling,
and like
nice.
When I first went over there, like again, I'm from Western Washington, green hills, mountains, whatever. And it's like the rolling hills, fields of wheat. And I didn't appreciate it at all, like when I initially moved there. But now, driving through in the fall, I worked at KLEW before I worked at KTVB down in Lewiston. And one of my favorite drives is just going up the Lewiston grade over to Moscow, by Genesee. And it is just like the most peaceful 16-mile drive or whatever once you get up to the top of the Lewiston grade because, 5 o'clock, sun's hitting the wheat fields, blowing. It's just it definitely carries its own beauty.
Keep your windows up with a pulp mill over there.
That's also true. You got to make it to the top. Get out of Lewiston before you roll your window.
So a little bit of a AI background that they generated. How much of this is accurate? So
AI knows who I am.
AI said the following.
Yeah.
You want it? Most of this sounds like it.
I did my Chat GPT research before.
No. This is a different one. So, Chat GPT will probably have it a little different.
It matches up with whatever everything he said so far.
They took 100 points off my batting average. I know that.
Oh, guaranteed. Yeah, you're much better than what it says. So, your work includes Emmy and Murrow Awards, is what it says.
Okay.
Your current work at KTVB. Tust. This is word for word. Tust has a rich background in sports. Grew up in Tacoma, strong involvement in baseball, even being drafted by the Cincinnati Reds in the 28th round of the MLB. Attended Washington State, studied the Edward R. Murrow School of Communications, developed his broadcasting career, and then...
Does it say anything about his dad?
Didn't say his dad.
Thank good.
Thank
God they scrubbed that. Yeah. Thank God.
Because they threw in a fact about your dad playing baseball. Is that true?
He did. He played baseball, and it's funny because, they didn't have Google back in those days, or I don't even think they were recording data. But a couple years ago, we were like going through a box of old stuff. I think he found it from his dad's house or something like that. But we found a magazine that actually had when he was drafted. He was drafted higher than I was. That was a tough moment for me.
It was a different time.
Different time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Was it to the Giants?
He got drafted by the Giants. Yes. Yep.
Cool. That's awesome.
Since we're talking Wazoo, can we jump into just the idea of Washington State and Boise State, the team you went, and I know you kind of have that angle covered a few times, but how excited are you that we're going to be playing them every year going forward, starting in a year?
Honestly,
is that cool? Is that not cool?
Honestly, I'm not super excited.
Okay. Fair.
Everybody always asks me this too, by the way, like, is it hard to like cover the game or root? Like, I swear to you, it's not. There's so much going on a game day, especially for football. Like, even the game, which Boise State came out on the losing end of in 2017 up there, where it was like this crazy ending where Washington State came back.
That was crazy.
Like, it really wasn't even until after everything settled down that I was like, oh my God, I guess my alma mater did win that game. Like, I really
triple overtime.
Triple overtime, 47-44, I want to say. Montel Kozar played great, but he had that one mistake. Take back. Who was the defensive player that scored a touchdown that night for Boise
Weaver.
State?
Whoa.
Attaboy.
Curtis Weaver.
Okay, all right. Yes, that was quick.
Nice.
I remember that. Big fella just running.
You big Ben
that was before we knew who he was, though, really. That was one of his first big plays.
Curtis Weaver was one of those guys that just, man, he could get to the quarterback, but he really flamed out in the NFL.
He did.
And what happened to him in the NFL?
Well, he was, and I'm not going to sit here and, he just, he was always known as like a clown guy, like a kind of a funny guy, like
a little bit
super. And I always look, hey, I'm no physical specimen here at all.
What?
But when your job is you're going to be an NFL
short.
player, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, Mark.
And he was always a little on the soft side. And
You
you're
know-
like, yeah, I question from
He's
the
a Luka?
outside, like, was he a Luka? Was he
Luka guy?
dedicated to his craft the way that you need to be successful in the NFL? I don't know. I'm not going to
Yeah.
say yay or nay, but it just kind of, he was all, I don't know how to put that in.
I think there's ways that you shape it, right? Like,
Yeah.
if he wasn't racking up double-digit sacks, yeah, you would kind of like,
Right,
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
maybe make a bigger deal about his character. But he was racking up double-digit sacks, so all of a sudden he's
Absolutely.
the guy that keeps the locker room light,
Yeah.
loose,
Yeah,
things
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
That's how you
Just
shape
perspective
it.
or
I just
narrative.
think you look at that and, man, the NFL is such a massive jump. I mean, Ashton
Mm-hmm.
Jeanty's about to make the jump, and I am very confident he's going to be just fine. But it is a massive jump, even for the best players, and so I think that was tough. And I don't know. One thing I will say, and you know, I know that as Kurt got a little older, he was starting to figure out how much had to go into it and stuff like that. You could definitely tell. But you look at some of those edge rushers that play his position in the NFL. Those guys have like 2 ounces of body fat on them, right?
Yeah, and that wasn't his body type.
And not necessarily.
He may have been better in almost
He was
tackle.
bendy and nimble and
He
things
was.
like that, but
Yeah, he just wasn't quite that.
Who knew Mark was
Anyways.
going to bag on Curtis Weaver?
I know that was not. No one saw that one.
have it on
coming.
the
well,
agenda.
if you
I think
follow
he could beat you up, Mark.
if
You
you
think?
follow Mark on social media,
Oh, yeah.
Wait,
you'll basically discover that anybody you bring up, there's a chance he's coming for you.
Yeah.
Don't I definitely thought about it when I jumped on here today. So.
hey, speaking of Ashton Jeanty, did you read his letter to the GMs?
I started reading it.
Oh,
I didn't see
This
it.
is like a couple hours
Brand
ago.
new.
Yeah, a couple
Okay.
hours ago.
So-
I loved it. I loved the way that he signed off on it. He stays true to character just the whole way as well. Like, he only points to stuff that your eyeballs have seen him do, and real stats that aren't like made up or any of this stuff. I think it's weird that I hate turning it into Travis Hunter versus Ashton Jeanty all the time, because Travis Hunter is a generational talent. I also think that it's weird that he's already saying that he'd retire if, you know, a team won't let him play both ways in the NFL. I don't know if you guys saw that,
I
but
didn't see that
apparently
either.
if he doesn't get to play both ways, he might retire. I
That's
feel
what he said?
I feel like that's a weird thing going into draft week, but
Things
you know,
not to say.
it is what it is. But no, Ashton signs off by something to the effect of, it's the NFL, it's tackle football. I would draft the guy that, you know, people can't tackle. And I mean,
So it's like it's basic.
It's a
I
sales
didn't see
pitch.
this at all. It's a sales pitch for himself. Hey, draft me.
Yeah.
more or less,
Pretty much.
yes.
And basically, like, hey,
Awesome.
when hard things come up, I thrive in those scenarios.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I like that he speaks.
I wanna read it.
He speaks with confidence. You know, he's like, yeah, everybody's watching the Eagles win the Super Bowl, and I'm just looking at Saquon Barkley basically being like, I can offer that to a team.
Yeah.
Which he's just saying
Why
out
not?
loud what we're all thinking.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Honest opinion here.
Yeah.
We're gonna go down
First
the line.
overall pick, Ashton Jeanty, yes.
No. There is a school that is retiring in the jersey
Oh, yeah.
of a starting quarterback that was there 2 years. That has a
Oh, 'cause I thought you were talking about maybe Kellen Moore.
No.
Somebody who's deserving of it.
Yeah.
no.
Ooh.
What was your Jay? We know these guys' opinions probably.
Yeah.
What was your first take when you saw that? So for anyone that hasn't seen, University of Colorado is retiring Travis Hunter's jersey. Okay,
Yep.
I can get that one. Won the Heisman, and their quarterback Shedeur Sanders jersey.
It's almost like it's almost like when anybody enters the transfer portal right now, especially if you're in Boise State. Like, initially you go, wait, what? And then you go, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
But how does it make sense?
Oh, no, it makes sense only because of what that program is all about right now.
gotcha.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, I don't think that any quarterback that's ever played any football at all that's gone 13-12 in his career and never won a bowl game should have his number retired.
Okay.
And both can be true here, people. Like, he was phenomenal. He's going to be a first-round pick. But I also just don't think that he needs his number retired. I mean, somebody brought up like Cordell Stewart hasn't had his number retired by
And there
Colorado
was
yet.
I saw
And
that
Bedell's
Bedell's
Bedell?
Bedell's
Not
number's
retired.
not tired?
Not retired.
Retired? Yeah. No,
Well, they
Bedell's
had a
number's
guy
tired,
that-
not retired. Yeah, there it is.
they won the national championship in 1990,
Yes.
and they had like I didn't even know the name, but the AP Player of the Year was on that team.
Yeah, that's
that
what
guy's jersey isn't retired.
That's what
Rashawn Salam?
Yeah. I
No,
believe-
it wasn't
no?
Rashad
Wasn't Rashad
Salam.
Salam?
It was. Check it out. Well,
That-
we're trying to not do this. Bring
Gosh,
up random facts.
Dave
that aren't-
Southern, if he
Yeah.
hears this
Yeah,
podcast,
Dave
will know.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to be punching his dashboard or whatever.
I think it was an 89 actually. Was
But
the year.
no, I just
Yeah, it was
let's
odd.
okay.
Why? Why would you have? Why? He's already done everything. And let's be honest. They did bring in, like, I've seen the enrollment stats. I've seen the money. It's been amazing. With Deion Sanders,
whatever
all
they're
that.
paying Deion
Yeah.
Sanders,
It's not, well,
it's
he's
worth
going up
it.
to 10.
Yeah, but it's worth it. I mean,
So
what he's
all
brought
that.
that school notoriety-wise, publicity-wise, yes.
But
It's the
why
whole-
now? Why now? Why it's over? He's graduate. Why would you retire it within 3 months of it being done?
Yep.
There's no
I think
sense
it's
of appreciation.
it's the whole idea of crowning somebody or something prematurely. It's like with Travis Hunter, it was like week what? And they're like, yep, he's the Heisman winner. And it's like, well, I think we still have some games to play, you know? And I think it's that same thing. It's like, well, Shedeur Sanders, the son of, Deion, we got to do it.
So
I mean,
odd.
everything they do is, I believe, is calculated, though.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
oh, wait. Now,
But why
okay,
the-
the NFL draft's right around the corner. Oh, they're retiring his number? Who knows?
Seriously.
Maybe it helps his name
Maybe.
get out there again, right? Like, now everybody's talking about him again.
That seems
I don't know if
so
that's it or not,
weird,
but
man.
everything they do is, it is.
It's a big marketing machine.
I was going to
is
say,
what
from
it is.
a marketing standpoint, if like not being logical about things, but from a marketing standpoint, the stuff they do actually has
Sure.
paid off, or I don't know if made sense is the right way to say that, but it has paid off. It's weird they're retiring Shedeur's number. He was great.
weird.
Both can be true people.
Yeah.
I will say, if you want to retire Travis Hunter's number, the guy won the
I get that
Heisman
one.
Trophy.
Yeah,
So yes,
I get that one.
Also, but why not give them both their moment then too? Yeah.
They're so tight at the hip. Like, it's almost like he's another son of Deion's.
What about,
It's such a
what
weird
about Cody
dynamic over
Hawkins,
there.
man?
What? Yeah,
He
why
played
not?
in Colorado, right?
Yeah.
I think with Colorado, they were in the depths for so long.
They were bad.
Decades.
Yep.
They were bad.
That I feel like anything Deion takes to them, they're like, do it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't care.
Yep.
Like, I don't, whatever it takes, do it. We'll retire your kids, Shedeur's kids' numbers.
Yeah.
Just to keep
Before
you
they're
here.
born.
We'll retire Jay Tust, all 3 kids, just to keep
There
them
it is.
there. Like, it doesn't
Perfect.
even matter what it is that he asks. He just
Boise
gets
State
it.
better hang on to 24. So
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Did you find anything on that, or am I? did I make
Alfred
something up?
Williams
That
was the AP Player of the Year for Colorado. He was a linebacker, oddly
Okay.
enough.
Wow.
But hey, how about this name? Eric Bieniemy was
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
running back
Yeah.
for the Colorado
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buffaloes.
There you go, Dave Southern.
Yeah, Dave. I don't know any of these other guys that they bring up. Darian Hagan, Mike Pritchard was a wide receiver.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mike Pritchard. You played for the Falcons.
Oh, boy.
Wide receiver, big
Why are you bringing this
Now
up,
I gotta
dude?
go into that one.
Here comes.
Now
Put
I
it
gotta
away.
go into that one.
Golly, now someone's gonna tune in just for that minute and rag us to death.
For an hour-long show, I catch 5 seconds, and it's you guys not knowing who Pritchard played for.
We gotta stay out of the comments over here.
Yeah.
Where were we at?
We were gonna recap. I know
Yeah.
we want to get into NIL. I know we want to get. There's more portal news.
Do we want to recap the BSU basketball?
do it.
Yeah.
Or
We
whatever.
spend a few minutes of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to. I'd like to know
Brandon
Jay's
loves
opinion.
basketball.
A little bit
I want
Peggy.
to. I want to
it
get.
quick.
I
Let's
want to
get
get
Jay's
Mark. I
opinion.
want to get Mark worked up. So
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
Let's not do
it
that.
doesn't
Let's
take
not
much.
do that.
It doesn't take much.
Please don't do that. All right.
I mean, what were your thoughts on the season overall?
I think
Team, the coaching, the season,
Yes.
the results, all that.
Again, one of those things where, I think that Boise State, the expectations have been raised over these last few years. And I think this year we found out how much they've been raised to where anytime over, 10 years ago, they're going to the NCAA tournament. It's like the greatest thing ever. And this year they barely miss out on it. And it's the worst thing ever, and fire everybody and cut everybody. I do think it's safe to say that this season was a disappointment. They had all the potential to go to the NCAA tournament, and they didn't. And I think that that's something that, real talk, to not go to the NCAA tournament, Tyson Dagenhart's senior year, that's something that's going to linger. Like that people just, that's not something that, people will just forget about, because if you watched over the last 4 years, you almost felt like, man, that's the shoe-in year. Like Tyson's senior year.
And almost, too, that it was building towards that.
Yeah, for sure. And then just some things didn't go their way.
What,
I don't even know
what things? Like, what if you were to pinpoint?
I know he had a tough year, and I'm not saying that he was the reason why, but Omar Stanley going from a guy that was an all-league level player to if you watched him in the preseason, I'm telling you, and you go back and you could make me look like an idiot at some point in time, I really thought that he would even contend or push Tyson, be in the group of maybe even being the Mountain West Conference Player of the Year. Like, I don't know what happened
in
there.
the preseason.
Yes. I don't, before the season even started, off-season workouts, like, I don't know what happened there. I don't know. We've been given kind of vague answers, and he's a good dude, man. Like we've talked on the side, and he's a great guy, and I really hope that he refines his mojo and goes overseas and plays professionally and gets to provide for his family and things like that, and he deserves that. But I think when it all comes down to it, if this team this year had a 5 that averaged 13-8, which I think is really reasonable of what you would have thought Omar would have done this year, there's no way that team's not in the NCAA tournament. You have that with Omar, with Tyson and Alvaro sprinkled in with whatever Andrew Meadows doing. Like, that's an NCAA tournament team, no doubt. And so
I just think in addition to that, the total egg that was laid by Anderson, I mean, the big 7-footer that could have done, I think, a double-double with 10 points and 10 rebounds or 10 blocks or something.
That's another tough one, too. And I'm telling
you. On the year, maybe? Did you get one on the year?
I'm just saying, like, he was the only guy. I mean, we were.
On the year. Sorry, I missed that one. No.
That's a tweet that Mark would throw in there. Like,
he's another guy, I'm telling you.
Totally missed on that.
If you went and you saw some of this guy at practice, it was like, holy cow, like, this guy is going to be great.
Well, the first game of the year, he started, he banged down a 3
Oakland,
top the key within like a minute, and you're like, holy crap.
First half, it was like, wow, these guys might win the Natty now. Like, I mean, you could be as excited as you wanted to, and that's just not the way that it went. Struggled defensively, struggled confidence-wise, and this is not a great fit.
How caught off guard, because Omar, we've kind of touched on some of these topics already. Another one, too, that we've talked about, but I wanted your opinion a little bit, is how caught off guard were they by Ogbo leaving? Because I think that was a huge issue, and it felt like they weren't prepared for that, right?
I'm telling you, last year, guys, Buzo is an awesome kid. Like, he is
no doubt
awesome. And, when I had him in for my podcast, we talked, great time. And, even chatting with him afterwards, if you would have asked me, like, what percentage do you think it is that Buzo comes back next year, I'm telling you, I would have said 98%.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was absolutely coming back. And then things change and outside influences get involved. And it's one thing I think that people forget all the time. And I don't want to, make assumptions even about Buzo's situation, but I think that whenever stuff like this happens, people always think of the 18 to 22-year-old kid that's just like, $500,000, bye.
Yeah.
But sometimes they're the ones that are being like, no, I got it pretty good here. And then there's other people that kind of get involved and change minds and things like that. I think that Omar was probably one of the bigger reasons why the season didn't go the way they thought it would. But the one thing that this team also needed was an athletic guy that could defend NBA level talent and 3-point shooting. Like, it was literally everything that Buzo was. Low ego, high output.
Yeah.
People loved him. Like, man, Buzo was a big loss. I will say this now, though. If Buzo was here, Andrew Meadow does not have anywhere near the year and opportunities that he had.
True.
And then so, like, what does next year look like in the long-term success of the I have no clue, right?
I don't think we lose to Colorado State 3 times if Buzo's on this team. Because I think he would have matched up with Nico much better.
I truly believe they get at least one of them.
Yeah. And one of them probably puts him in the tournament.
And one of them probably puts him in the NCAA tournament.
So a lot of little things and add it up, right?
Yeah. And that's why I got kind of moving forward. Do they have that guy next year?
So they have Meadow.
I don't know.
They have Carmichael said he's coming back.
Yep.
And then RJ said he's coming back.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about any of the main pieces coming back. Like, I think all that stuff is still being kind of figured out, but I mean,
when is that portal?
But they're building around like Meadow and Carmichael, right?
Yeah, Meadow,
and then
Carmichael,
add pieces around him.
Well, then you look at this Drew Fielder guy, right? Like he has ties to Idaho. He's got multiple years of eligibility left, and so if you make him happy and he's productive, now even next year you run it back with that same nucleus of Fielder, Meadow, and Carmichael. I mean, so that's a heck of a starting point even next year when you would lose a guy like Dylan Andrews or potentially Javen Buchanan, but I think they're still kind of waiting to see what his eligibility looks like. Is all this
with the NAIA
stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like he might have multiple years of eligibility left. We'll have to wait and see on that one.
When does the basketball portal close? I know, but football's open today, and we've got 10 days to kind of. We'll talk about that in a second. But what's basketball closes when?
You know what?
You don't know either.
Got me off guard with that one.
Sorry,
I'm on it.
Mark, do you still have eligibility?
I left 2 years on the table, but I think after 20, they kind of it gets
really. I was going to explore that for
aside.
baseball. Dang it. I'm in the same boat. Darn.
Oh man.
Any other thoughts on basketball at all?
No, I think we've hit basketball pretty good.
So you're good with the coach?
I will say, me?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
No, you've been missing. Yeah, I'm fine with coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm fine with coach.
We recorded that, right?
That was years.
We recorded that.
Yeah, no,
That
we're
was
going.
years
That's
ago.
recorded.
You're pulling up stuff. Come on, Jay.
Did you see that my brother said he wanted to come on and set the record straight?
I did see that. Let's get him on.
'Cause
When's he
we
in
said,
Boise now?
He wasn't cheering.
He was sitting next to Leon at
And he wasn't cheering.
at the Crown.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like courtside.
Wow.
And we're in the same group text as him. And it didn't match up.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't cheer, I guess. That's what matched
Yeah,
up,
that's
but
what we got after him for. He wasn't
Yeah.
cheering at all. No clapping.
Crown was a cool tournament, by the way.
Yeah, we thought
you got
so.
to go down for
I went down for the
last
I was
game.
going to go down. Yeah, it ended up being the last game, semifinals, hopefully the championship. Turns out I was only there for the semifinals.
Did BJ let you stay in his room?
He offered. Yeah.
Because they probably
nice
put
guy.
him up in like the penthouse suite, right?
Oh yeah, well like room, but it's like rooms.
Yeah.
So I had like my if so I would have had my own wing.
Your wing.
Yeah, it was
Getting in
pretty
with those
great.
guys, that was pretty good for BJ.
It
man.
was.
He's probably got a
Great
place
dudes
to
down there at
stay.
Circa.
Yeah.
Those guys
Eric or
are
whatever.
awesome.
Yeah.
Really good. And yeah, but I thought it was a cool tournament. I think they need to adjust timing. I don't know if that's it's good in many ways. I also don't know because it opens up the transfer portal and guys are leaving and rosters are depleted. And Georgetown had like 5 people playing, even though they beat my alma mater.
They're like, you need 5 to start. You can't start with 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Can we get somebody from Washington State?
Well, it's funny because everybody's like, "Oh, Georgetown's roster's depleted," and I'm like, "Why isn't anybody saying this about Washington State's roster?
Yeah.
Like, we're without guys, and the team, all the team left the year prior, so I don't know,
Oh, yeah.
whatever." But cool tournament. Hopefully, it continues to find success, and I think they're going to find a way to up the ante in terms of the purse of that thing. And if they do, it's going to start to really threaten some of the other tournaments. I think.
No doubt.
Possible want to talk about the tweet of the week.
Let's do it. Is
You
that do we know? Have I seen this tweet?
Yeah, you've seen it.
Did I send this tweet and say possible
Yeah,
tweet of the week?
you
Okay.
did.
Right on.
And this isn't one of Mark's
like it.
tweets.
That's not my tweet. No.
Oddly enough.
Yeah.
You guys all know Kevin Hyatt, right?
Yeah,
The
I know of him. I don't know if I've
yeah.
ever met him, but yes.
He's like
I haven't met him.
I don't think anybody's met him.
We're familiar with his social
He may be
media
a
presence.
bot. He may be a bot. It's possible he's a bot. Anyway, so a couple of people left that we'll talk about from all over the country, and then including the Tennessee quarterback.
Yeah.
Who had the college football, at least that we know of, the very first official holdout for contract negotiations, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that was pretty big last week. And Kevin put a post up there that was, I think, really interesting. He said, college football is in a dangerous place right now. And then you could just say college sports.
Yeah.
The new landscape is causing fans to feel like they can't invest emotionally in players because loyalty has been bought out. I agree that players deserve to be paid, but this is Wild West for
It is.
all is killing the golden goose.
One thing
I like the I like the response to that though by
should I read
Danica.
it?
Danica
Danica's
Rhodes,
awesome,
she's
dude.
around too.
We
I
can't
like the
invest
response.
emotionally, but we're being asked to invest more than ever financially. Not a great combo for fans.
Yeah.
some has to happen. I mean, clearly, and the funny thing is like you ask a fan, you ask players, you ask coaches, you ask former coaches. Literally everybody that cares even an ounce about college sports right now will all actually have an opinion, probably on the same side of this thing that, something's got to change, which I don't know how often anybody agrees, right. to this level on any topic.
A 99-10, a 99-1.
I mean, I really think it is
ratio right now.
And man, Nico might be the only one in the 1% right now, but he might be shifting over to the 99 if this backfires on him.
Yeah.
To hear some of the things that have come out about that, where he was apparently threatening to hold out before the college football playoff and things like that.
Can you go into that? What do you know? What did you hear about that one?
This is all stuff that Josh paid or stuff like that I've read from other people or listened from other people. And yeah, apparently he was threatening to hold out.
Because those are not paid games is what he was saying.
Yeah, okay, so
they're extra.
You get $2 million
He's working overtime.
It's like every game you play is paid. Bro,
you should get holiday pay.
It's not like they say we're going to pay you $2.5 million for 10 games.
Yeah,
it's like we're paying you for the whole season.
But the only thing, here's the one, and this is like actually oddly enough, this is actually on the flip side of it where maybe I do have a different take.
Oh, okay, here we go.
If you're going to ask these kids to play 17 games in a season,
okay,
I think the NCAA should somehow pay them. I mean, it's just like the MLB playoffs or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. I actually do think. Maybe not Tennessee's collective or any of that stuff, but the NCAA tournament. Again, I just brought up the Crown. I mean, they're offering a $500,000 payday I guess it's technically $300,000, but they want to bring that purse up, upwards of $1 million or something in the years to come here, maybe even in the year to come. But now all of a sudden you're looking at it. If I'm telling you, like
I brought this up. He's about to say something. I said, "Let's keep going. We've heard this.
Lead him into it.
We've heard this."
If you're watching the championship of the Crown on Sunday, knowing that you're an NCAA player playing in the NCAA championship on Monday, and you're watching this, and you're like, and Gus Johnson, God love him. He's actually one of my favorites.
He's awesome.
I love him. But how many times was he talking about the bag and how much it was worth?
Let's hear the impression. Can you do it?
I'm not even gonna because I think so highly of Gus. I'm not even gonna try. Ask BJ. BJ's got a great impression of him. But all of a sudden, like if you're watching that, knowing you're playing tomorrow for nothing, and those guys are playing for $300K, you got to be thinking like, wait a minute, what's this about?
Well,
what is this tournament?
This tournament sucks.
Meanwhile, the NCAA tournament. They could give away $1 billion and probably not even. I mean, they make billions.
Well, my thing
was March Madness.
Let's say it gets up to $1 million, okay, and then you're talking about
for the winning team,
team,
yeah.
And then you have a team, let's say Kansas, or a team that has a tradition of getting to the tournament. They're having a down year. They're going to be a 9-10 seed.
Yep.
What would you rather do? Be a 10 seed, go whatever, play for free, or play for $1 million?
I think
honestly, I don't know. I think a really good example.
I think a really good example is San Diego State this year.
Sure,
they're a team that's going into the NCAA tournament. They've had some magic there before, but one of their best players is hurt. They're not playing their best ball at the end of the year, and now all of a sudden you want to tell those guys, man.
Go to Dayton in 2 days.
We could drive out. We could fly out. We could fly out to Dayton. If it was driving out to Dayton, you definitely go to Vegas.
Get the station wagon.
You may as well drive to the Crown.
If you fly out to Dayton, kind of, I mean, you're an athlete. You're never going to admit like you're not going to win. But like if you really think about it, like, hey, you could play in Dayton and then maybe play again, or you might be the favorite to win $1 million in Las Vegas. Like
that's what I'm saying. They're
going to get to a point, and I think that the Crown has to figure out what that number is to where all of a sudden you're going to make teams go, I don't know. Take Boise State, for example. Like your NIL game, super aggressive, but they've all said it before. They're not going to win any bidding wars. So now all of a sudden, if you have a chance to go to the NCAA tournament where, I mean, in this case, this is where we're going to look at this. You're 0-10 all time, or do you want to go play for $1 million in Las Vegas? And now all of a sudden, you're handing your star players $150,000 at the end of the year. That conversation
could be present.
If it gets to $1 million, that conversation happens.
Yeah.
That conversation happens. But will a team truly say, nah, we don't want the NCAA tournament. We want to go to the Crown. I don't know. Another part to that, the players don't get paid going to the NCAA tournament, but the conferences and in turn the schools do. So they might have to figure out a way to
of
make
all the
happy.
Lawsuits that have been brought towards the NCAA.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that right there hasn't been brought.
Yeah.
Could this same thing happen with football where there's a side tournament? just like the college football playoff.
If you get $1 million for basketball, imagine what you get for football.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably get a $5 million tournament.
Get rid of like half the bowl games, right? And why not pool that money and do, I don't know, something different?
Yeah. Or if you're just a famous Idaho Potato Bowl.
Yeah.
I have no idea if this is even allowed or you could figure it out or whatever, but now all of a sudden say, hey, we got a purse or a prize. We got prize money for the winner. Now all of a sudden people are like, oh, wow, December 18th in Boise, Idaho doesn't sound that bad. You know what I mean?
It's going to take a lot of money to say that statement. Like,
right?
Because normally, like, at bowl games, players get some swag, right?
Yeah.
And that's
it's like
kind
sweats
of
and like,
they get like
a DVD
Now,
player.
when kids couldn't get anything, like supposedly they weren't allowed to get anything, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
But now that all these kids have some sort of NIL, or at a minimum, guys are making. I mean, I think we forget even before NIL, these guys are making a stipend, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all of them are making that cost of attendance, that kind of gap between tuition and the cost of attendance. They're all pocketing. Remember, we had Bolton here, and he was saying that he's got money in the bank from Boise State, being an athlete. He's like he's saved a bunch of money. You know what I mean? And he's not. And that was before NIL. That was just with the other stuff and living at home for part of it or whatever.
I remember my uncle. He spoiled us, and he would give us $50, I believe. He deposited $50 every 2 weeks in our account.
Oh,
yeah,
just every 2 weeks.
For what?
Every 2
Just
weeks, as long as we were in college.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
In college.
In college throughout our college careers.
Your uncle?
Yeah.
That's a great
Yeah.
uncle.
Oh, he was a great uncle. He's awesome. He's always been super supportive too. But that was huge. That was huge. I mean, honestly, fellas, that was drinking money. Like
different. That was huge.
When I was upperclassman, you could make it. And that showed you how you could affordable drinking was in Pullman, I guess. But yeah, you go out and
Natty Light.
If you woke up on Friday or Saturday and you're like, I spent $30 at the bar. How did I do that? And then the rude awakening is you graduate and go to Seattle and.
Yeah,
$30
If
for a
that
cocktail.
drink-
Yeah, $30 for a drink.
If that money wasn't there, were you calling your uncle like, hey, come on?
I'm holding out.
Honestly, I'm holding out. Honestly, it was clockwork.
You didn't have to worry about it.
It was clockwork.
Nice.
Never. He is awesome.
Shout out to Jay's uncle.
Jay's uncle.
He's probably a listener.
Yeah, that was my NIL deal. That was he might. He's supportive. He might.
funny, dude.
That was my NIL deal.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll be interested to see how this Tennessee quarterback thing. I'm
honestly wondering if they're quietly back channels, whatever it is, if the coaches are finally just going to come together and say, guys, we've got to make an example of somebody, and what's going on here is not right. Whether that's right or wrong is a separate argument, but I just kind of wonder if it gets to a point where there's just some type of agreement where we're not gonna bend, or nobody's gonna bend for this kid. And then watch tomorrow, some SEC school's gonna be like, no, Vanderbilt's gonna be like, no, we'll give them $4 million. We got money.
I always thought that nothing would change until the big schools started losing their coaches to the NFL.
Yeah.
Like the big name coaches say, I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm going to the NFL. And then that's when the power brokers say, all right, now we're going to actually, because they can just continue to pay higher and higher and higher amounts to players and coaches.
I honestly don't know what the tipping point is. Like, I would agree with you like a year ago, but I think we've already seen some of that movement. I mean, Chip Kelly just like, I don't want to be a head coach at UCLA. I'm going to be the OC at Ohio State, which not a bad opportunity, but that was just for a stepping stone for him to get back to the NFL, clearly. So I think you've already kind of naturally seen some of that. I don't know what I do not know what the tipping point is. I think, whenever the NFL found collective bargaining, the president of the United States of America got involved in those decisions. You know what I mean? So I think eventually maybe that's what it takes. I don't know.
Well, back to your point about coaches getting together or whatnot. A couple things, like did anyone else read that potentially Dan Lanning, the coach at Oregon, was the one that tipped off Tennessee?
I did.
don't know if that's substantiated or not.
It's so hard because there's so much out there right now.
So that
What
was
did he say?
interesting.
What
Well,
happened?
supposedly, like Nico, his people were shopping him around for like the last several months, and Dan Lanning called or whatever Josh Heupel and was like, "Hey, just so you know, this is what's going on behind your back." I don't know if that happened or not.
Wow.
But a couple of thoughts when I read that, I was like, well, first of all, we all know Dan Lanning's people working for Dan Lanning or people at Oregon
or coming after our guys.
have been coming after our guys for years. We all know it's pretty much out there that they wouldn't leave Ashton Jeanty alone, right? Among other people. And so it's like, well, wait a second. Like, is it because so again, I don't know if that happened, but I'm just not sure that any of these guys, it goes back to the question, I've asked it multiple times. I mean, obviously Boise State's players and every team across the country are getting tampered with. Why are no coaches? Why is no one turning anyone in ever?
Well, I'll tell you why.
Why?
I don't mean to steal Jay's.
No, thank God.
For anybody.
I didn't. I
mean, you know exactly why. So Danielson turns in Lanning.
Okay.
Let's just say it.
Okay.
Well, and then things go south for Danielson, just for whatever reason. Let's
now
just
he's
say
blackballed.
Yeah, then now he's blackballed. Like, what other coach wants to deal with Danielson? Like, you have to keep as many bridges intact in college football and coaching because you never know when you need a job from that guy or that guy's going to recommend you. So there's no benefit to them besides just the hassle that they have to deal with has to be so extreme that they're willing to burn a bridge with one of the most successful coaches.
I think that's a good answer. I think another way to look at that is who are they going to tell?
Yeah.
Who are they going to report it to?
And who's going to do
NCAA.
anything about it?
Oh, you think?
Right?
Oh, yeah. They have a real strong backbone these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll come down to hammer on that.
Yeah.
No,
it's just frustrating. It's right.
The NCAA probably wakes up every morning and just goes, "Whew, man, nobody really talked about us yesterday."
That's like my kids
We're here
getting
for another
in trouble.
day.
My kids will get in trouble and call grandma. Hey, my dad's being really mean to me. Oh, I'm sorry. Come over for some ice cream. Nothing's gonna change. Just have some ice cream.
Yeah.
The NCAA is not gonna. That's a good point.
Yeah. They're not.
And
all
I
of that.
think when you talk about tipping points with this, there has to be a change with the NCAA.
There does.
Right? Because there's no power. They're only getting sued.
So is it the NCAA?
So it needs
You know
to be
what I
a
mean?
new body.
Is it
or-
a new body?
yes,
Yes, exactly. Who polices this? And here's the deal. Until there are some guardrails or something put on this thing, we heard it, the Fiesta Bowl, whether it be Spencer Danielson or James Franklin are being like, Nick Saban, Chris Peterson, make them the commissioners of college football.
Yeah.
I personally believe there's no way that happens until they actually might have, this isn't meant to say they're going to go on a power trip, but like until they have some type of power.
The players or the
person put in that
the
position.
commissioner,
there's no power.
There's no guardrails, there's no rules, there's no nothing. Anytime anybody does anything, they just sue the NCAA.
And they get their state, like the Tennessee Attorney General,
The West Virginia one,
basically like fought so that Nico could get that initial contract.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah, like 2 years ago.
So here's the
And
question.
then
about
now it's just like they sue, like the states are suing to not abide by the rules. I saw in the House settlement hearing, the judge was basically like, they were talking about needing to get uniform rules or whatever. And she's like, it's a you can decide who's in or out of your organization. Why don't you just kick them out? And they didn't have an answer. It was like, if a team says we're not going to abide by this rule, why don't you just kick them out? They don't have the balls to do it.
No.
They kick out Alabama,
Well,
which could, in theory.
But if you put Nick Saban as the czar, who's giving him authority? Is it just the consent to the governed? Like, is it the players and the coaches that say if he says something?
It feels like it would have to be the SEC and Big Ten just saying, you know what, we don't need the NCAA, we're going to do our own thing, and then we're going to put him in charge of it.
The break
And then,
off.
Yeah. I think that's what it would have to be.
Yeah, something.
That moment when they split off will be a moment that's like ticked on the timeline.
Yeah.
That we'll all remember because we've all been waiting for that one moment to where and then just kicks off the rat race of whatever's going to happen.
Yep.
Just of scattering. But back to that initial tweet, it's like, the fans are the ones caught up in all of this as well. Like, the kids that loved Nico or any of the players that have all the jerseys, that buy the jerseys, that support the NIL for Tennessee. Now he goes to play for Arkansas or wherever he goes, Vandy. And now it's like, well, that jersey, sorry, son, like, that signed jersey you need to take off and
you can't
why
get a
would you want to
refund.
wear it?
There's always, and people always bring this up, like, oh, coaches don't have any loyalty, which, go ahead and argue that. But one thing most of them do have is buyout clauses. Mm-hmm. So if somebody were to leave Boise State and go to Alabama, Alabama's paying Boise State something, right? Mm-hmm. And so it feels like, yeah, fine. If USC wants to come get Prince Strachan, is what it is. But he has an $85,000 buyout clause, whatever it is. I don't know. And now USC has to give Boise State that. I mean, there should be something like that to where, okay, well, kid's not getting penalized, but at least like the schools are going to pause for a second, maybe like, oh man, we got to pay $300,000 to Boise State to get Ashton Jeanty, and then we're going to have to pay him $1 million, whatever. Like, I don't know. Maybe this gets to a point where it at least makes people slow down for a second here before they make these decisions.
That would be nice.
No, I would love that. I also would like, you got to align the agents, the NIL agents that are just incentivized every time they get a new NIL deal.
These college NIL agents it's really frustrating.
Isn't Guerrero, do you ever talk to Guerrero?
Yeah.
Like Alex,
yes.
He's an NIL agent, right? Or no?
I don't know if he works with pro athletes, and I think that he can facilitate some college stuff. I don't know if I won't even necessarily put Alex in this group. Okay. Because I think like with these NIL agents, Alex cares, so I do know that. But I think you get these NIL agents at the college level where they're making an incredible cut off these deals.
20% or something
where
crazy.
NFL agents make like 4 or 6 or something way smaller than that. Yeah. And so another thing is that once you get to the NFL, I'll just use the MLB because I feel like I'm watching the Red Sox documentary on Netflix right now. It's phenomenal, guys. Go watch
Pete
it.
Rose or
Red
Sox?
Red Sox, yeah.
Pete
Are you
Rose.
talking about LeBron? Are you talking about LeBron or Clyde?
Is that the one with the World
I was
Series?
thinking the Reds.
No, it's
a different one.
it just came out like in
okay.
the last week. They followed around the Red Sox for the whole last year.
Oh, cool.
It's super authentic, super raw. It really exceeded my expectations in terms of access and how honest and open the players have been. It is really, really good.
Cool.
It's going to make you like the Red Sox, which yeah, I know that's what I mean. Yeah, that should make you go watch it there if it can actually do that. Oh man, now I've lost where I was going with this because it was such a
You're
good.
going from like
He's hung up on Pete Rose
amateurs
still.
to the I threw you off.
Yeah.
Like amateur to the pro level, isn't that where you were at?
Yeah.
What was the train?
So man,
Okay.
I know I lost.
Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame, mostly because my dad would kill me if I said otherwise. Pete Rose, that guy played hard. I read Pete Rose's autobiography or whatever one time too, and you in the book and you're like, yeah, I guess he wrote that, or at least like that was shaped to favor him, but it still makes you go, he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Man. I'm just going to use this as an excuse. My boy Brooks, he was up most of the night last night, so I forgot my train of thought. Sorry to all
we do it multiple
the
times.
Shirts and Skins fans out there.
The C4 that you've got
I
there
dropped the ball.
is
I know.
working super hard.
I stopped and got it. I was late.
There it is.
Sorry to the Shirts and Skins moms, like our moms that listen to this.
You should also
Yeah.
apologize
I'm
for the
gonna hate
Pete
me.
Rose comment.
No, I'm not. That's like on
leave
brand
that.
for me. You know what I mean?
Dude, are we
That's
ready?
like, I'm ready for 5 questions. Look, we have him at his
there.
lowest.
Okay.
Look at him. His brain is like fatigued all the way out now. So
Oh no.
Jay is worn out. He's tired. It's time for 5 questions,
yes,
Jay.
it is.
Okay.
Just do your best, man. That's all I can say.
I'm good. I already have an excuse ready to go. I just talked
yeah,
about
come
it. So, if I don't know it, I don't
if
know
you
it.
studied for this,
Yeah.
it was worthless,
Okay.
pointless. Okay.
Okay.
These questions are going to be about you, maybe your history, maybe random stuff.
Okay. Kellen Moore passed for 14,667
No,
yards.
did he?
Dang it.
Did he?
That's a different trivia.
First question.
No.
Oh, come on.
Man.
That's a different trivia game.
Okay.
All right, number 1. You're from Tacoma. We already covered that.
Yep.
But you went to school in Pullman. Do you know what Pullman's nickname is or what Pullman is known for? Something that it grows.
Its nickname is Pullmania,
Okay.
but I'm sure that's not the answer.
Different
It's
pull.
a
Different
food.
It's the Lentil Festival,
There
right?
you go.
Hey. There we go. Wow.
Yeah.
1 for 1.
It's the lentil
It's
capital.
usually like going on right as school begins. Never partook in any of the parades or whatever happens downtown, but usually you see something fun and then
The
you-
lentil? The lentil capital. They just grow a lot of lentils there?
Yeah.
They must.
There's a whole story behind it, how it came
Not a big
over
lentil
and-
guy.
That's
You
not
like
the next
lentils?
question, right?
No.
I
You
d-
like lentils?
No.
Lentil soup?
I don't.
Lentils are not
Honestly, I
very
don't even know
good.
if I've had it.
I didn't know.
They're like beans.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't taste like anything.
Split half.
Yeah.
Vegetarians use them as a substitute sometimes. I've had
All right, come
lentil
on.
sloppy joes.
What?
Get out of here.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You?
Sorry to my
Why?
sister-in-law.
Yeah, you
Oh, ouch.
All right.
Okay.
Here we
Brutal.
go. Question number 2. You might have to use your brain on this one a little
Ugh.
bit. In a hypothetical broadcaster showdown,
Yeah.
okay, who would win a stat off? You or David Augusto?
Oh, wait. A stat off?
I knew Augusto was coming.
Like saying stats?
Yeah, like knowing more stats.
All right.
I will literally never say myself.
Come on, Jay,
on,
just
Jay.
say it.
Jay Tust.
You know.
Tust stats.
Jay
Stats.
Tust.
I have a lot of confidence in my stat
Jay,
game,
say
but
it. Jay, don't miss
I'm
it.
Don't
Jay.
overthink it. Don't overthink
I'm
it,
gonna
Jay.
give
Yo,
you
do
a
you know
second
Augusto?
chance.
Do you know David Augusto? Do you remember David Augusto?
I do remember him. I've met him
Yeah.
a couple times.
Yeah,
we never
nice
worked
guy.
together or
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
like
Never
that.
worked together.
Nice guy.
This is gonna make it.
Okay, slight. Only because I heard that BJ had a really high batting average with what he answered. Okay, fine, me, but
There we go.
That's the right
but David's
one.
right there.
He is.
David Augusto. There had to be a David Augusto
So
reference
David
with Jay.
Augusto covered high school sports when we were in high school.
Okay.
And so yeah. Anyway, That's
We
like
all
the
went to high
connection.
school here, by the
How
way.
old is
Yeah.
David?
Yeah.
He was a young guy then.
He was, yeah, I
That's
bet.
true.
Yeah.
That was 20 some years ago.
Not much
23
older
years
than
ago.
you guys, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 for 2.
2 for 2. Off to a good start. Yeah.
Question number 3. Have you seen the movie Dodgeball
Yes.
with Ben Stiller?
Yeah. It's been
Yeah.
it's been a very, very long
Vince
time.
Vaughn.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
Which TV network covered the tournament, the dodgeball tournament?
Oh, the Ocho.
The Ocho.
Yes.
ESPN The Ocho.
Hey, wow. He's getting this all over.
Nice.
It's funny because I was just on a plane. This was one of the movies on there. I'm like, I'm going to watch it
Yeah.
again. In the movie, they have banners for Fox Sports Net.
Oh, funny.
Really?
But the whole thing is on ESPN The Ocho.
Huh.
Kind of weird.
Why? I don't
Why did I
understand
watch
that.
it?
I don't understand that line of question on that one. That particular, like what relation that? Just like
Because he's
broadcast-
in
Sports movie.
broadcast.
He's a
Alright,
broadcaster.
All right.
Edward R. Murrow,
I'm
Brandon.
not big on the pop culture stuff. I don't even know if that is pop culture necessarily, but I'll take it.
Okay.
Wow.
We're 3 for 3.
3 for 3. Everybody nowadays says, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you did that. Let's
Like-
go.
Yeah.
Go where?
What did we say before we said, let's go?
Ooh. Is there there's an answer to this?
There's an answer.
There's a
Matt has an
singular answer.
Matt has an answer.
Oh man.
What did we say? That's a good question.
Bronco Country, let's ride. Let's go. Let's go.
You're saying like America.
America. Not
Across
us.
the board.
Across the board. Because we didn't say it in high
Let's
school.
go.
Come on. I got
Come on.
nothing. I got nothing.
What?
I don't have an answer.
Oh, you don't even have an answer?
I don't know.
So he
come
goes
on.
right.
Did we
Oh,
say
then-
like, yeah, bro? I don't know.
Yeah, bro.
I was hoping Jay would.
Let's go.
Come on.
This is-
I
so
can
the-
see
we'll-
come on. I can
we'll
see
ex-
come on.
Come on.
Come on.
We'll accept it. We'll
I'll
accept it.
accept it. Heck yeah.
It was at least an answer.
F
You didn't have it
yeah.
right. You didn't have
I was going to take whatever Jay said.
it. You're setting him up.
That
like
was
you
a
did Vidal,
gimme.
dude.
That was
That
a
was
gimme.
a one. You should have
Come
started.
on.
Yeah, that's good.
Before we get to question number 5, a little side story, and this is why I'm a little lenient, a little, giving Jay the
Okay.
benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
The first game, everybody knows we had credentials to Boise State, to the football games.
Yeah, very few
I
people
go
know.
there my first time. I don't know where I'm going. Jay's walking out from doing something on the field, I think.
Jay's a busy man that
And I was
day.
like, hey, Jay. And he's like,
yeah,
who
you're
are
an
you?
idiot.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah.
Jay kindly guided
Wow,
me.
dude.
Well,
up
what
to the
he
press
doesn't
box.
what he doesn't know is I actually just threw him in the freight elevator and said,
Yeah, go over there.
No, it took 20 minutes to get there, and I
Yeah.
had to ask a couple people. But Jay was really nice.
Just say, Jay, try to go to the basement.
Just
Jay's
he
a
did
nice
buy the
guy,
elevator
dude.
pass, so that was cool.
Jay's a nice guy.
geography question, Jay. How are you at geography?
Not great.
Okay. You went to school in West Texas, like you said.
Yep.
Can Texas fit inside Alaska? Area.
Can Texas?
So if you take the area of
Fit?
Alaska, will Texas fit?
I actually saw
Inside Alaska.
like just 2 days ago about how many states can fit inside Texas.
I know,
Like
that's why-
all of California, all of New York.
Yeah, that's
tons
why I'm
of
going to say
states.
no. I saw this, and I don't know if it's the same thing or not, but they put California in there and alone, and it was like,
Yeah, tiny. Yeah.
You're probably going to catch me here, and that's the point of this question, but I'm going to say no. See, I know. Point of the question. Should have gone with just
Dang.
It can
Almost
fit in
five.
Alaska.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang,
Alaska's huge.
big.
It's
Alaska's
big.
big.
It's big.
4 out of 5 though.
Dude, that's an 800
is
baseball
very
guy.
good.
800 batting average. Take
That's
that.
incredible.
I'm sorry. I meant to ask this question. You're a big Ken Griffey guy.
Yeah. Yes.
What was your reaction to his son playing on the BSU, or kind of like?
Is he still on the roster?
Is he still on the roster? Or what
Can
was
you
the
say
set-
that?
What was the setup on that?
He's not.
Oh, okay. So, but he came a couple times last season. And
He did,
everything.
yeah.
So, what was your reaction when that was?
BJ likes to like really hype this up. Like I ran over there the moment he entered the building,
Screamed.
which I did do. I
Waving
ran.
a program. Waving a program. Sign this.
Yeah. No, I just was working like I would a normal practice, and
Did you know? Did you know he was coming, or
I didn't know he was coming, but I knew that he was there because it was just obvious. Looked over, I'm like, oh, that's Ken Griffey Jr. And then kind of near the end of practice, I shook his hand and said, "Welcome to Boise." But that guy's like he was like my idol. Like that guy, he's the reason why I love sports. It was
because Seattle and all like the Mariners and everything.
He was magical. Like he never let us down. I mean, the team sucked, but he never let us down. Opening day, every opening day, he hit like a home run or two, and just to start the season. And yeah, he was.
He's
he
now
was
a
magical.
photographer.
Now
Did you
he's
guys
a
see
photographer.
that?
Which
He
it's
was
funny
at the
that
Masters.
I know it's
Yeah, I saw
so
that.
funny that it's becoming a story now. He's been doing this for a while.
Oh,
The
okay.
2014 Fiesta Bowl, his oldest son played for Arizona. He's a wide receiver.
Oh, okay. Wow,
And-
he's got a
Can't
big
remember
range of kids. There.
Like local media wasn't allowed to shoot video for the game. And I look over, and Ken Griffey Jr. is credentialed shooting still photos. Like, so I couldn't be on. I cover the team every day. Could not be on the sideline shooting video, anything like that. But Ken Griffey Jr.
Did you ask him
the
like,
kid.
hey, can you get some shots for me?
No.
hey, Ken,
I'll give you credit.
text me.
He was awesome, but I think that he had so much attention, especially during the 90s in Seattle, that I always made sure that I was just respectful and didn't like run up to him or anything. When I was 11, I went to spring training, and my grandparents actually took me, and I made him get there like an hour or hours before the gates opened. The moment the gates opened, to try to get like BP home run balls or autographs or whatever. And so we're pulling up to the Peoria Sports Complex. There's not a car in the facility, and we're sitting there at the gate trying to like wait to get in. And there is a black Corvette that pulls up next to us to go into the players' lot. And I look over, and it's Ken Griffey Jr. And my jaw was just hits the floor, and he's like, and I'm like,
Oh, he waved.
yeah, he waved.
Yeah, I gave you that.
Got a little wave there,
Nice.
but that was that moment.
Did you play a lot of Ken Griffey Jr. baseball
Yes.
on Nintendo
Oh,
64?
that game was awesome.
It was awesome. One of the
It
best
was the
ever.
best.
Yes. His circle.
Oh, dude.
Yep.
You could not miss with him.
Yep. No, I played tons of that. Super Nintendo. I will say this, he still was much kinder than Ricky Henderson. I
heard he was a jerk.
big jerk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've
I
heard
think I was
stories.
probably like
Just
is it the
outright
Kingdome?
jerk, huh?
Yeah, I was at the Kingdome, and man, I was a pretty homely looking kid. I had like the bowl cut, I had big glasses, and my grandfather's a retired Seattle police officer. And so when I was a kid, he would actually, this is like one of the coolest luxuries. Whenever it would be to get back by the locker room or anywhere kind of more exclusive access, whatever guard was there, he just flash his badge, and the guy would be like, yeah, go for it. And so we get back to where the A's walk out of the locker room back in the Kingdome days. And I'm standing there, and one thing that drives me crazy these days, you go to spring training, and there's a kid there, hey, 34, hey, 30. You know, I was like the kid that I was like, Mr. Griffey, may I please have your autograph? You know, like I knew the guy's name. I was respectful. I wasn't yelling at him. And so we're standing right there, and I got my program ready to go, and I'm ready to get it autographed. And I see Ricky Henderson. And little 8-year-old Jay, I take one step at Ricky, and he stops dead in his tracks, and he looks at me, and he goes, don't even think about it, kid.
Oh.
And then he walked right on.
Oh, what a punk.
Yeah.
What a punk.
You should have been like, good,
I got
I'm a
the
Jose
story.
Canseco fan. Keep walking, Ricky.
Yeah, I think I got some guy, his pitcher named Ariel Pietro or something like that.
There you go.
I got his autograph that
Like,
day.
I'm here for Dennis Eckersley.
That's not bad.
Before we get out of here, right? Portal, 10 more days.
Yep.
We had another one yesterday, JFR.
Yep.
Probably a surprise to some. I don't know if it was a surprise to you at all.
My son was super bummed about that.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people are.
All of these guys have
ahead.
been surprising for different reasons. Like,
Was Andrew Simpson surprised? That wasn't surprising to me at all. And I don't even know him. I just
No.
felt like that one wasn't surprising to me.
I just think like the actual commit to the portal, oh God, they're leaving, I'm tweeting it out. I think that's like just the initial shock. But then once you just take a moment to breathe, you're like, yeah, I could see that one. Braxton was probably the most surprising. I would say, this is the way that I'd say it. I think that Andrew's probably the most impactful on the field player. I do think that Braxton was the most important player, though, especially for Boise State, given what the lack of depth they have up there now. JFR was just, out of all those guys, was probably the biggest fan favorite for one reason or the other, and so that's why I think he was the most shocking. It was just like, oh man, that was the fan favorite.
Good
we
guy,
really liked.
Australian.
Yeah, fun hair, walk up song, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Is so as we know, and we've talked about this a lot, like every school across the country loses starters to the portal, right? We've at this point we've lost 4 because I think Prince Strong safely would have been a top 3 receiver.
He started last year.
Yeah.
And hey, he was a top 3 receiver last year.
Okay, so we've lost 4.
Yeah.
You put that into comparison. I don't know, good, bad, or indifferent. Probably better than the average. Certainly, group of 5. That said, I think it's tough. I think that these are starting to, because Boise State, we'll see in the next little while, but I find it very hard to believe that we're going to go find someone that's equal to Andrew Simpson or Prince Strong or whatever, just because we can't go and really buy a new guy.
Right.
And so and we'll see. We got 10 days. Now it's open today. I would remember after the season, I was like, we're going to lose X number. Now we're at 4.
Yeah.
Right? And it was like they held everyone together. If we lose another 1 or 2 starters, you really have to start wondering, because now all of a sudden our 2s become the 1s and our 3s become the 2s, and you worry about depth. I don't know. I mean, I know it happens everywhere. I just don't think that we're going to – I think it's tough. I think it's tough for Boise State specifically, because we're not going and buying anyone.
No.
So we're relying on
loyalty and hope.
Yeah.
I think it's tough because, Boise State likes to preach that they're a developmental program.
Sure.
Which they are.
Yep.
And it's really the only thing they can preach right now, to be honest with you. But there's kind of 2 sides of that. Like, so do you develop guys to the point where they're just really good college football players or where they're NFL prospects? And that's why not every situation is the same. And I've kind of said this before, but I think a big reason why Ashton stayed last year is he still knew that it was going to put him in the best position possible to be a first-round pick and have that $20 million payday or whatever is about to happen, in April.
Yep.
To where if you are a player, again, and this is, I hope this doesn't even sound like it's bad or demeaning or whatever, because Andrew Simpson's a really good college football player. Braxton Feeley is a really good college football player. But they don't have those surefire multi-million-dollar paydays waiting for them in the NFL. So it's kind of hard to compare them to Ashton.
No
doubt.
If
they can go get a few $100,000 right now, man, and that is potentially your chance to make a significant amount of money, and that might be your best chance ever. It's just kind of hard to fault them and say, no, come back and maybe go to the college football playoff again. I get that. But then you have like a Cage Casey. Cage Casey stays in Boise State, stays in the Mountain West.
As of right now.
But he knows – I just think that he is much closer to Ashton than maybe some of these other situations. And I think that, not trying to speak for the kid because I really don't know, but this is just kind of the way I feel about the situation in general. I think that he knows he comes back here, knows the system, knows the coaches, knows the calls, knows the rest of his offensive line. His wife is here. There's so much that he understands and can control right now at Boise State, which will give him the best opportunity to get drafted in the NFL next year and have a monster payday himself. And so that's why I just think there's a difference between, are you a really good college football player or are you a bona fide NFL prospect? And if you're a bona fide NFL prospect,
you stay probably.
You stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're not, then if you can go
get
get
paid.
500, 800, whatever the heck they're paying out there, if you can go get that right now, it'd be awesome to start your life. I mean, Braxton's married. We all know that. Spencer married him, but and again,
That's the tough one.
right?
Yeah,
There's always like that little thing with this that just kind of makes it tough.
Oh.
JFR's the fan favorite. Braxton was married by Spencer, but I have no clue. I have absolutely no clue what potential payday or whatever is out there for Braxton. But just speaking generally, like, man, if you could have most of your house paid off and when you're starting your post-college life,
Yeah.
that sounds amazing.
That's kind of what we all kind of feel. It's like, it sucks, but we get it. I think most people get it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I just always thought it was the only addition to the NIL is I thought they should vest that payout over time, over the remainder of their eligibility.
Yeah.
And just incentivize, like, let's say they have 5 years and, 100% is given at the end of or let's just say 4 years. 100% is given at the end of the 4 years. Let's just say it's $6 million over 4 years.
Yeah.
That, year one, they get $1 million, year two, they get $2 more
Yeah.
million, and they vest it over time. So if they left, they'd only get a portion of that.
I'm not positive. I believe Boise State has something kind of like that where you did see some, whether it be collectives, whatever it might be, they sign Matt to a Windows deal and the Windows company just pays Matt his $1 million up front right away.
that happened, right?
That happened?
No.
Well, okay, darn.
Oh,
I'm sorry, bud. And then he could transfer knowing he's got his $1 million. I believe now like a Boise State kind of, it's like almost like a quarterly or something where
So they just stop payment if they leave. Yeah.
I don't know
assume
exactly, but I
so.
think something like that. It's not quite to the effect of, no, you got to be here the full year and then we'll do it. But something that maybe just, oh man, if I stay another quarter, I could get that. I don't know.
As a fan, I'm okay with Boise State being a developmental program. But what we talked about earlier about having a buyout, I don't want to have us developing players for free.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's just like we'll build them up and then ship them off.
And again, I don't necessarily think the kid has to pay it, but if the school, if some Power 5 school wants to come and take those players, they've got to buy out, so-and-so's. They got to buy out Andrew Simpson's contract.
Yeah. Because I think would be very tough for Spencer Danielson, especially going through the situation with Braxton where he's close, he married him. You invest all this time, right, building up these kids, and Spencer Danielson really believes in building character.
Yeah.
Just like Coach Pete did, I think. And then it's like he could leave, he just takes off. And you have to kind of be okay with that. And I thought it was really interesting that Spencer said he wasn't okay with that.
Honestly, of all this, that probably was a little bit of the shocking thing to me. But Spencer, this is part of his whole thing, though. He is very open. He's very honest.
Yeah.
And, there's times where he doesn't say everything, but he doesn't tell us that Taylon Green's starting and then Maddox Matson throws 42 passes in a game.
Wait, someone did that?
Yeah, and I say that kind of joking, but I'm true. Like, even the other day, like, he told us about Sire. He gave us an update on Sire Gaines and, like, kind of told us about what's going on with him injury-wise.
Did Sire lose a leg? Did he, lose an entire leg or something?
I think it's concerning at this point. I don't know if you guys got more information than what we've heard, but he was ready to go a week away in January. So obviously there was a setback, but I hope it's okay by whenever.
I don't know any more than you do. I don't know any more than Spencer said the other day about Sire, but I just think, let's get to June, and if it's still an issue, then I'll probably hit the panic button. But as it stands right now, why does Sire?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that they're not going to come out and say this stuff, but why does Latrell Caples need to practice right now? Why does Sire you're only going to put him in harm's way potentially?
Yeah.
So
I hate to keep pounding on NIL.
Yeah.
From a baseball perspective, similar things, soccer, similar things. But there's a baseball league, I believe, in Japan where if the MLB wants to go, they have to pay some millions of dollars just to talk to the player, right?
Yeah.
So what if the conference said, anybody in our conference, you have to pay?
Well, you have to have somebody regulating it.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
who's going to?
What if the conference sued the school? What if Mountain West sued USC and USC's like, bing?
When does that actually?
I'm just wondering.
How long would it take for that to play out? 2 years?
Yeah, a long time.
You know what I mean?
They're gone by then.
Yeah, exactly. Then they're gone by then. So, I mean, it always comes back to that. It's like, who do you tell? Who actually regulates it?
Who can enforce it?
And who can enforce it? And who's not scared of being sued?
Yeah.
They're just, nobody checks any of those boxes right now.
Yeah. I just thought it would be interesting if the conference.
It's not a bad
dictated
idea. Yeah, it's not. It's not a bad idea, but it just until there's any
because the
structure, it's just
USC
not
would
gonna
just
work.
sue the Mountain West and say, "Oh, it's
player rights or
or it's a
That's a good point.
constraint of trade or
crap,
whatever
now we
it
got
is."
countersuit. Dang it.
I know.
That's ultimately why they do need to go to Congress or whatever
Yeah.
and collective bargaining and that whole thing because the NFL runs very smoothly. It runs pretty darn smoothly, but they needed,
But it didn't
like you
always.
said, it didn't always, but they needed like congressional help to like they have carve outs in like anti-competition law for the NFL to work the way it does.
Yeah.
Right. So that's basically what college football needs.
Yep.
But who knows?
Well,
Is that it?
I think.
any a 5-minute just outlook or 60-second outlook on next year for BSU? Like, what are your
Football?
expectations? Yeah, for football.
Yeah.
You know, Malik Sherrod, man, I'm excited for everybody to see him in the spring game. I mean, I had high expectations for him, but he looks really, really
As the
explosive.
running back from Fresno.
Yeah,
Is
the
that right?
running back transfer from Fresno State. I think he looks explosive. He's motivated. I think he sees the production that Ashton Jeanty had in this offense last year. I think you also look at what's returning on this offensive line, and let's not try to compare him to Ashton Jeanty because I've also come to terms that Ashton Jeanty has ruined football at Boise State forever.
100%.
Forever.
Our
What
best,
we witnessed
2,600 yards.
Yeah, what we
man.
witnessed last year is like maybe it's just starting to sink in now. You'll never see it again. Like
sad.
maybe like anywhere in the country. Like I mean, what he did was truly, truly, truly unbelievable, and you just can't expect the 80-yard run after 80-yard run after missed tackle, any of that stuff. But I think you look at kind of some of the pieces. I would love to see them add somebody out of the transfer portal at wide receiver. I think they got an awesome offensive line with great depth. I think they got options at running back. I think that
QB?
I do think that Maddox Madsen's ready to do whatever he has to do to take a bigger role and lead this team. He's been pretty sharp from what I've seen this spring. The defensive line that's probably the most concerning spot on the team for me. You always hear about how teams want to build in the trenches, and right now they just have a lot of question marks. They might have potential, but until you see it on Saturday, they're still somewhat question marks, and that's probably my biggest concern. So do they hit the portal and find a defensive tackle and probably a wide receiver? And outside of that, I think secondary has to play better, but they have talent there.
Well, they got DeMario Warren, so there should be fine.
Oh, here we go. Here's Mark.
Mark,
You got to
I
get
thought
off
we said
it.
5
He ended
minutes.
well.
Saying this, just
He ended well last year. You
Just
got to get
saying
off
facts,
him.
baby. Come
Oh
on.
my
We
God.
Hey,
got
big year.
Mario.
Whatever, big year for that group because
Yeah.
I mean, you look and it's Jeremiah Irby's been here a year. Like there's no longer the adjustment period. Amari McCoy's been here for a few years now. They have some depth there. Devon Banks, same story. Had a whole year to marinate last year. Franklin Johnson Jr. I think has been really good at times in practice, but just hasn't been able to crack the lineup really. Ty Benefield is a really good football player, folks, and
Is he on our team in 11 days?
better hope.
Him and JVR or JVM.
Jaden
Those are
Morgan.
kind of they have to be
Yeah.
the top two flight risks.
Yeah, but I think that those fall a little bit closer to
NFL guys.
NFL guys that you stay here. You're going to put up numbers. They're going to put you in a great spot.
That's gotta be the
and-
selling
and,
point,
And you're
for
not
sure.
you're not going to get lost in the wash at other schools.
Absolutely.
Like you're going to be those guys. So I think they fall a little bit closer to that category if you're asking, in my opinion.
Yep.
Mark,
Yes.
did Kaniho graduate?
Kaniho.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope so.
He
Mark,
did.
the younger
Kaniho.
He did graduate.
Good for
He
him.
potentially had another year of eligibility.
He did.
Oh,
Yes.
But he's moving on.
But he is going to move on. He's a dad 2 times over.
Good
Oh,
guy.
great-
Seemed like a great guy.
Great human.
You know,
And-
I will say this. My memory of Kaniho getting in the games was that game at BYU that you
had a
show
pick.
up and remember how they used to do it like 10 minutes before kickoff. It's like, here's the guys that are out. I don't know if they still do that. And it was like both starting corners. And all of a sudden he was like a freshman or a
Yep.
sophomore and he was playing against the dude that's in the NFL now. And he got torched a little bit, but he hung in there.
Yeah.
And we won that game late on Shakir's catch from Hank.
Won the game.
I will
He had a
always
pick-
remember that for Kaniho.
He had an
struggled some the
interception
last
in that
few
game,
years.
though.
Did he?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it might have been his first career pick, but he had an interception in that game.
So he had some shining moments, but he we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, what do you think? I guess it's probably way too early, but where do you think we end?
is this another playoff run?
Yeah, I don't know if
Mountain
I'm
West
ready to go
championship?
there yet, but there's no reason this team can't contend for a Mountain West championship.
Yeah.
And if they do that, that'll at least put them in the discussion. One thing that I will say favors them this year, they have a pretty manageable schedule. That trip to Notre Dame will absolutely be daunting. Fortunately, they do have a couple of quote-unquote tune-up games. But if they can go across country, open up the season, and get a win at South Florida, that really sets up for another 11-ish win season where you should be back in a Mountain West Conference title game.
Yep.
UNLV loading up on the portal again, right? I mean, they're just P4 kind of playbacks, right? I mean, that's what they've been doing under Odom, and now that's what they're doing under Mullen, right?
And Odom, one thing I will say, like, everybody wants to just assume that Dan Mullen can be Odom. Barry Odom was awesome.
He was good.
And I really enjoyed my conversations with him, and you could see when you talk to him, his intensity and things like that, you can see and feel why they were able to build what they built over these last couple of years. Dan Mullen's a great coach, and maybe he will pick up right where Odom left off, but I don't think that should just be, just assumed, in my opinion. And plus, what you got to beat the best to be the best, and
They're coming here.
And even when UNLV's been at their best, what are they? 0-for-3.
Yeah.
Oh, for everything. We've never lost to UNLV.
Well, I'm just saying,
in this run.
In this little run here where UNLV has been at their peak, they're 0-for-3 and 0-for-2 on their home field against Boise State. So,
Yeah.
I hope that I honestly hope, and going to the Pac, whatever, that there's really good competitors out there in conference, because it was a blast playing UNLV back and forth and back and forth.
I
Those
do
were
think
fun
they got to
games.
figure out a way to, and I think they ultimately will once all is said and done. They got to be in Vegas, and at times I don't know how much Vegas is totally invested into UNLV at this point.
They're not.
I do think there's opportunity, like if they see this grow and stuff like that, because one thing, people in Vegas know if they continue to keep Pac-12 tournaments and bowl games and stuff there, that helps them. And so if there's reasons to invest because they're going to see that come back at them, I really believe they will. But yeah, I do think that the new Pac-12 or whatever needs to hold on. They don't need UNLV to be in Vegas. We've seen that. Like, they can host their conference tournaments there and be fine, but I think that they should probably go grab them in Memphis and
Yeah. Right on.
Brandon, do you have to put a face up on the wall? Or are we doing that next time?
Oh, I need a picture. Oh yeah, dude, we got a
Oh,
face.
it's up there.
Hope he's still here. Well, here we go.
Can we
Here
get
we go.
this?
Here we go.
Do you recognize this person, Jay?
yeah, it's Gabe Linehan.
Gabe Linehan, baby. Gabe Linehan's on the pod wall. I incorrectly named Matt Lauder Gabe Linehan one time, and it stayed with
It
us
kinda
for
stuck.
like five episodes. So Gabe made the wall. Shout out to Gabe. We want him on the podcast pretty bad.
Yeah.
We need to get him on.
Oh, he's a
come on.
great character. You should get him on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
he's
you do
fun.
I've
that.
heard he's
Fun.
quite connected around town, too.
Yeah.
We're going to get you up there, Jay. Don't worry.
Yeah, we need a picture. Ideally, a baseball picture from college or something.
Oh.
West
Big
Texas
Ben.
would be sweet.
Maybe a Big Ben
dude.
picture.
I'll
That'd be
find
sweet.
one. I had long hair back in the day.
That'd
Oh.
be sweet. Yeah.
I'll find one for you.
That would
Like,
be
was
awesome.
it a mullet or just long hair?
No, it wasn't a mullet.
Okay.
That wasn't his style.
That's before
Before it was
mullets were cool.
Yeah.
You know? I
It's
had,
just like
I just kind of had longer
Long
curly
hair that the curls would come out under
out of the baseball
hat,
cap.
right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Guys, we're going to
Jay's
get out of here.
expecting a child,
Jay-
so we got the.
Well, we almost
Oh, we
wrapped
got
up the
the-
show before they were due.
Hey,
Jay's ready to go.
Hey.
Jay Tust, thanks for joining us today.
Awesome.
Awesome having you. We loved it. Hope you come back in the future
Hey,
when you're.
it's actually it's a pretty
doing
short
awesome.
drive, so
Yeah.
we'll figure something
You're
out.
welcome anytime.
Everybody out there, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Subscribe, like, do all that stuff, and we will see you next time.